Aminata cannot be gay. I know that he cannot submit to those tenets. Is it true that it's Aminata that signed that letter to the president? Saying that because of these transient financial benefits, our proper family values should not be encouraged. Now, Nusa Hussein is here, and we are in Ramadan. True Muslims will not countenance a millimeter of this nonsense. The vice president and now leader of the New Patriotic Party, if he is a true Muslim, should look at Akuffo Addo in his face and tell him that, boss, my faith, my religion does not countenance what you are doing. Sign it.
Whenever I say my PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
You were till for a PENDREAM TV in Pacho. When you say the news not all for my near the bro. News say our babeti in Pacho. So what when one drink Trebia and also what drink Trefa. News be I present your platform where you saw for your voice note not for sending it. I was 0277 128 777. The debate 2 PENDREAM FM. So my Ghana for you not on. Young court T and a story I did bro.
Thank you. And let's start with the tussle between parliaments and, of course, the presidency. And I'll start from the extreme right and start with Chairman. Chairman, good morning once again.
Morning. First, let me salute Dr. Akisi and, of course, the baby. No, that's when elephant gives birth to butterfly. What do you call it? It's butterfly. It's not butterfly. So, good morning, butterfant. And of course to you, Senna. A certain level of political madness, or for want of a better word, silliness is taking place in our governance. Because if Abraham Lincoln's definition of democracy is anything to go by, government of the people, by the people, and for the people, then President Akuffo Addo's government is not for the people, and is not of the people, and is not by the people. And so if that is the case, then it means that democracy is at a crossroads, and there is the potential that the actions or inactions of President Akuffo Addo can actually somersault our democracy in a manner that will be very dangerous for all of us. Parliament took a decision that they want to formulate a bill to regulate sexual human rights and the Ghanaian family values. And the bill before us, or that has been passed by Parliament, if I get the title right, is Proper Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill. It is not anti-LGBTQ plus bill. It is anybody's definition, and I don't know why people decide, because Western media decide to christen it anti-LGBTQ. What we are saying is that we have proper sexual human rights. And the proper sexual human rights includes the one that leads to procreation. Any sexual rights that does not lead to procreation is not proper. It affronts our Ghanaian and African values. Consequently, Parliament decided that we need to ensure that the proper values are maintained. Senna, if we are not careful, you know, many people think that is about a man marrying a man or a woman marrying a man. But if you look at the thing, it's not gay and lesbians. It is Q and what have you. Now, what does the Q stand for? A woman can just get up and say that they have seen a beautiful tree outside there, and that tree they want to marry. So they call on Sheikh Inusafuseni to come and bless that relationship. Or they call on Osofo Solomon Owusu to come and bless that relationship. Now, when we are allowed into this absurdity, where you can marry anything, where you can profess love to anything, so a woman can marry a tree. Once you marry a tree, you have to go sometimes and sleep by the tree and probably make love with the tree. So you go outside and naked yourself because that is the home of the tree. And somebody comes to say that in this scent exposure, then you tell the person that this is my husband. That is the level of absurdity that Europeans, Americans want to impose on us, that we should accept it. Somebody can get up and say that my cat, I'm in love with my cat, and my dog, my donkey. So if we are married, I'm married to my donkey. My donkey can make love to me, right? Or I can make love to the donkey. That is the whole thing that we are describing. And because of that, Parliament decided that no, let us put this thing into perspective so that we'll be guided appropriately. This should have been an initiative by the ministry responsible for chieftaincy, religious affairs, and public culture. After all, we have Center for National Culture. So they should be promoting the proper Ghanaian values, right? So you have institutions that will tell you what are Ghanaian values and what are not Ghanaian values. So Parliament, through private members, mooted this idea and it was unanimously supported. Dr. Kisi and co all went to vote, and they voted in one voice that this is what we want, and we applaud them. So one was expecting that once the people's representatives had made a voice and taken a decision, President Akuffo Addo will gladly assent to this. But we have a president who was speaking to Al Jazeera about 3 or so years ago and was confronted with the issue of this LGBTQ. He said it's bound to happen. It does need proper mobilization and protest for it to happen. Don't forget that the president's hunchback, Gabi Asare Ochiridaku, in 2007 was promoting an international gay conference in Ghana. And he was fronting that that gay conference should take place in Ghana. It took President Kufuor and the church and the mosque to say that. In fact, President Kufuor, after the mosque had said no, the church said no, came out to say that conference will not happen in Ghana. They should look for a different place to do it. And so once Gabi is the hunchback of Akuffo Addo, you expect nothing to see a promotion and a push for this thing to manifest in our Ghanaian society. So President said that to Al Jazeera. Then he came and met the church in Ghana. And when he was confronted with the issue, he said it will not happen under his presidency. Then the presidency took it up and started applauding that, look, the president has spoken. It did not take long for Kamala Harris, the vice president of the United States, to be in Ghana. And the president betrayed all of us and the church by telling Kamala Harris that this bill before Parliament is not an initiative of the executive. So, it's some individuals that have taken their matter. He was waiting for them to finish and he will see what to do with it. And we are seeing what the president is doing with it. Beyond that, soon as Parliament passed the bill, the Ministry of Finance wrote a love letter to President Akuffo Addo, outlining the economic dangers, financial dangers that we will face if we decide, or if President assents to the bill. So they gave President a letter not to sign. So Ghana will lose about 3.4 billion if we sign this. And they listed the various facilities that the Ministry of Finance was involved in that were possibly going to come to Ghana. Then, as we are on it, we are told that some individuals say they want to go to court. But this is a bill. It's not yet a law. It becomes a law when the president assents to it. And so, how can you go to court on something that is not before, it's not a law? The president met with the diplomatic community and said that, look, he was not able to do this, sign any bill, because some individuals have gone to court. This was on the 4th of March. So President actually knew that Gabi Asare-Chiridako's boy, Richard Sky, was planning to send a matter before court, but he didn't know that the boy had not gone to court. And so he went ahead to say that there was a matter before court. Only after he spoke that now Richard Sky went to file. So you see the sequencing that President had calculated and done all these things in order to frustrate the representatives of the people's decision that we needed to have a proper sexual human rights law and Ghanaian family values. So President had planned this, rehearsed it, and is now executing what he has planned. And so, in doing so, President now says that they had gone to Peduase Lodge for a cabinet retreat. And whilst they were away, in fact, before that, when society started asking why is the president not interested in signing, the now majority leader, Apenyo Makins, came and said that no, the bill has not been sent to the presidency. And why are people asking the president to sign something that is not before the president? Because normally when Parliament finishes passing, there are some nitty-gritties that need to be done in Parliament itself. Because they do corrections and what have you. It has to be done, it has to be put in order before it's sent to the president. So that was not done. So Apenyo Makins came and said, no, don't accuse the president because there was no bill before him. And that the bill, when it gets to the president will act. Now the bill is ready, tidied. The clerk is transmitting it to Parliament, and then you block to the president, and you block the clerk from delivering what is supposed to be done. Parliament does its duty. The next stage is to give it to you. Now, I will assume that the president in all honesty, does not even know what is contained in the bill because it's not yet properly before him. So why are you saying that you will not accept it? Because you first have to receive, peruse, and understand what is inside before you can think about rejecting or accepting. So this bill is not before the president. The president and the presidency are already sweating. Can you imagine? They don't know the content of it. I also assume that the Ministry of Finance does not even know the content. Because the bill was to sanitize before it gets to the presidency. It's here to get to the presidency. Then you go and start writing even before you can properly see the bill. Then somebody goes to court ahead of us even knowing the full content of the bill. This cannot be. You see, the picture behind you, Sana, the picture behind you is the true big six. Count the number of people that are there. That's the true big six. In that declaration of our independence, they fought, people died, right, in order to obtain for us our independence. These people came face to face with money that could benefit them and their families. By the colonialists, they rejected it because our sovereignty, as Kwame Nkrumah put it, we prefer independence with danger than, what do we call it? I'll get the appropriate phrase. But he said we prefer independence with danger than servitude in tranquility. That's what Kwame Nkrumah said. Today, we have turned the thing around, that we prefer servitude in tranquility to independence in danger. So we are eager for economic and financial crumbs. 3.4 reason for which our pride, our identity, our culture, our values will be deprecated. So presidency decided that this is the path they are going to follow. In following that path, they say there is a matter before court, so don't transmit the bill. If Parliament doesn't transmit the bill, Parliament is in violation of its own rules. And Parliament would have confronted the Constitution. So the duty of Parliament is to transmit. And they would transmit. The letter of Bedi Etuo daring Parliament to desist from it is an insult and an attack on our democracy. The language is not only horrible, but it's like a coup d'etat. It's a coup d'etat because anytime there is a coup d'etat, the executive arm continues to work even under the military regime, right? The judiciary continues to work. It is Parliament that ceases to exist. So if you are daring Parliament from doing its functions, you have organized a coup d'etat. And therefore, the president should not be allowed to continue in office. Because if you are daring Parliament not to function, you have overthrown Parliament. And as I've already indicated, when there is a coup d'etat, it is Parliament that is dissolved. No matter how, the new regime will appoint people to function as executives. The judiciary continues to function. It's the legislature that ceases to exist. So if today, by the daring letter of President Akuffo Addo, through his executive secretary, Parliament ceases to function, it's nothing further away from a coup d'etat. 2, if the pendency of a matter before court is reason for which we cannot send communications to the presidency, then it's a terrifying issue. E-levy was in court. President Akuffo Addo went ahead and signed the electronic transfers levy, which I continue to describe as electronic thievery levy, because it's stealing away people's savings. And you don't tax working capital. It's only under President Akuffo Addo and Bawumia that working capital of businesses are being taxed. So when this is happening, then the Speaker of Parliament that I clap for, superb, fantastic, come to say, okay, I'm taking cue from you. Nelson Dafemakpo has also filed a case in court on the letter emanating from the presidency that gave us ministers. In fact, the letter indicated ministers that have been removed. You remember? Some ministers have been removed. And so it means that they have lost their offices. After you have removed that ministers, what did you do? You turn around to now say that you have appointed them and assigned them to different ministries. And Rosin says that no, it's not done. If you are removed as a minister, it means that you have ceased and your authority as a minister is taken away from you. So that letter that removed the people included people like Dan Bochwe, right? Included people like Ofori Atta, Amako Atta. That letter included them, and they removed people, including now Minister for Ministry of Interior. That letter removed all of them. That's the first batch of letter. Dan Bochwe is not back. So if you are reappointing them, it means that they should come to Parliament for vetting. And so the letter contains and includes those that are actually new or are elevated. And the Speaker says that, consequently, he is also unable to allow Parliament to act when a matter is before court. So we'll all wait. When the court discharges these matters, then we will act. Now you are crying. Now Attorney General is saying that no, the Speaker is wrong. Go to court. It's not that your 3-page letter that will make the Speaker change his mind. It is sickening that we will have a president reduce the sovereignty of our nation to this low. To say that because of some economic benefits, some money that we'll receive, Dr. Amin Anta, my brother, a man we respected so much when he was NUK's president, and fortunate or unfortunate for me, we come from the same root, because the people of Sankana originates from Karaga, and so he is our MP. I know Amin Anta cannot be gay. I know that he cannot submit to those tenets. Is it true that it's Amin Anta that signed that letter to the president? Saying that because of these transient financial benefits, our proper family values should not be encouraged. Now, Nusa Hussein is here, and we are in Ramadan. True Muslims will not countenance a millimeter of this nonsense. The Vice President and now leader of the New Patriotic Party, if he is a true Muslim, should look at Akuffo Addo in his face and tell him that, boss, my faith, my religion does not countenance what you are doing, sign it. Receive the bill and sign it. Senna, let me be president today and a bill of this nature is signed. I would move to the doorsteps of Parliament and take it from Parliament for delaying it and sign it there to become law. We are independent people. We are not a colonialist or a colonialist state any longer. We cannot compromise our sovereignty on the basis that some financial benefit will come to us. Now, in 1972 to 1975, that was the Achampon era, Dr. Asibi Abudu, who typed the Achampon speech that is affectionately called Yentuya speech, to which we will not pay the debt that we owe. When Achampon finished delivering that speech, because they invited the IMF and everybody, the IMF and the World Bank in the next 2 days packed bag and baggage and left Ghana because they were angry that the president did not respect them and called them to come and tell them that we owe, but we will not pay. We will not pay because we don't have the capacity to pay. We owe the rest of the world. We can't pay. If actually we pay, our economies will not exist. If we don't pay, those economies will not die. The IMF will not die because we have not paid our debts to them. In fact, they have received the debts in many folds. So if we don't pay, the IMF will continue to be IMF. The United States will survive. The European Union will survive. But when we pay all the debts, we will not survive as a people. So what do you think that Achampon said? That look, we want to survive, so that debt will not pay. So we can survive. They packed bag and baggage. Check the records. Between 1972 to 1975 was one of the buoyant periods of Ghana's economy. Ghana became full self-sufficient because of the policies. Operation Feed Yourself. Ghana's industries were beginning to produce at optimum capacity because of Operation Feed Your Industry. Ghana's forests and forest cover saw an appreciation because there was the policy of Operation Feed Your Forest. If you travel across this country and you see on roads, you see mahogany trees planted, both sides. They were planted at the time of Achampon by school pupils. I'm sure your Afro-Franto politics have taken you out of town. You will see those things, both sides.
This morning.
No, because I know that has enabled you to travel across the country the more. So we became food self-sufficient. Senna, we were exporting sugar. Over 30,000 tons of sugar were being exported. If you go, the stadia, from Wa to Trumu to Laura across, stadia that were constructed by Achampon. Low-cost housings were done under Achampon. Contractors were paid on time. We did not rely on the IMF or the World Bank or any international facility to be able to do this. So this nonsense of we will lose 3.4 billion from these international and Bretton Woods institutions would constitute the basis for which our proper sexual human rights and Ghanaian values bill should not be assented to by the president. It's a foolish call from the Ministry of Finance. We are independent people. We must respect the blood, the toil of our forebears, that we cannot capitulate on their struggles.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Bernard Mona. If you just join us, it's the mother of all talk shows, Alaji and Alaji, live on Pan-African Television, live on Radio Gold.
Mame for asema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
You were for aha PENDREAM TV mpacho. Onim say the news na to for mane di bro. News ya oba beti mpacho so wa dwen kire bia na so wa dwen kire fa. News bia ya present your platform we so for your voice note na fa send here. 0277 128777. The debate to PENDREAM FM so magana for nyina ati wonka. Yenko ti ene story di bro.